Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of minutes, a motion to approve the August 7th, 2024 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to items for discussion. A, EPR newsletter, curriculum department. All right.
This is exciting.
Thank you for submitting this
Thank
ahead of time. Thank you.
So the curriculum department moving forward, we are going to create a newsletter so that the committee can see all of the great things that are happening in the realm of curriculum and how much we appreciate your support. And then when any reports are due at the board level, the newsletter can help to streamline some of the things that are happening other than just some of the voting items that we have here. And for this first one, what we'd like to do is throughout the department, we'd like to go through and highlight some of the things that we've done over the summer.
Great. So we started off with a new teacher orientation a few weeks ago, and it was very successful. We had 25 new teachers attending, and we had a full day of presentations on various things ranging from Sapphire to trauma-informed teaching to Chief came in and gave a presentation about safety, things like that. And the results from the follow-up survey were really positive. And the one I'm most proud of is that there was a sentence that said, "I feel welcomed and included at East Stroudsburg," and that was all 100% strongly agree. So that was one of our main objectives. We also had professional development for the entire staff the week after that. And on August 20th, we had Dr. Chris Clayton come in from PSEA to talk about artificial intelligence. And then in the afternoons, we had 19 concurrent sessions, so teachers could choose what topic they wanted to go to. And the teachers were really, really happy about this. And they found, again, the response in the follow-up survey was overwhelmingly positive, and they found it very helpful. So that was a great day and just a great start to the year and sending out that message of we're going to be collaborative, we're going to be meaningful. So it was really wonderful.
I did hear a lot of positive stuff too from teachers when I was at North or Stockton. The ones I ran into, they said that this is the first time they thought their PDE was something that they wanted, not something that they were told to do.
Yeah, that element of choice really was powerful for them. And then all the presenters in those 19 concurrent sessions were their colleagues. It was we were calling them AI champions because they had the Magic School training in June. And so they were teaching their colleagues. So it was really meaningful all around. Mm-hmm.
I also heard the speaker in the first session was wonderful. I've had teachers come to me and said it's the best opening staff development they've had in 25 years. So I just thought I would share that with you.
Great.
I'm glad you retired, Ann.
I know. I wish I would have gone to see it.
And kudos to Andy and our local PSEA, because the speaker is from PSEA and this is kind of where he's found his passion. So we just want to make sure we're thanking PSEA for their support and helping him come and join our session.
Yes, thank you.
And the newsletter is beautiful too, by the way. Thank you for that.
But Andrew, when I click here, it doesn't work.
I keep clicking.
The one that is linked to the agenda does.
I'm just joking.
So I'd also like to talk about Link It because that was work done through EPR and through the support of the board. And we were able to start rolling out Link It. We started with a training this summer for all the building level administrators where they could start understanding the tool. We then furthered their time working with Link It at the administrative retreat with the goal that they were going to start rolling out Link It to their faculty. And Linkit can be a fire hose in terms of the amount of information that teachers can be presented with. And we are trying to trickle that use of Linkit out. So we're showing teachers how to use it. Principals are creating dashboards where teachers can start looking at it, digesting the data that they're seeing. But we want to do it in small steps so that no one becomes overwhelmed, that no one feels that it's not useful. And each month each month at a faculty meeting, the principals are going to be rolling out more and more aspects, but allowing teachers to digest it, look at it, play with it, understand it before we start adding anything more to it.
The one thing I'll say, and I couldn't appreciate that more. When you first brought up Linkit some time ago, that was the biggest concern, was it is just overwhelming. And if it's just dropped on your lap, you really don't know what to do with it. And so taking all that time and effort to narrow down and to individualize, and every building might have a different set that they want to focus and look on or look at. So I do appreciate you guys doing that. It's huge.
So the next one is just a huge thank you to the committee here for approving all of the curriculum and working through that process with us. Our teachers are absolutely thrilled to have all of their new resources. I threw a picture of probably one of our smallest departments of curriculum resources that came in the back on the top right hand corner. But I think also I want to recognize that the teachers that did the work and the department chairs who led this leadership initiative would not have happened without them. So I want to just thank our department chairs, our coaches, our office staff, custodians for helping moving the stuff, our maintenance department, getting the books where they need to be, and working with vendors' time schedules and when things come. Everybody kind of was all hands on deck and really made for a successful opening that books and resources where they were supposed to be. So Tabitha and I both experienced that at the secondary and the elementary school level. So we just want to thank you for your piece in that puzzle.
What's the saying? It takes a village. I mean, it takes every department within the district to get this, functioning and working correctly, especially just the logistics of moving all that curriculum material to where they're supposed to go.
I forgot finance, so I want to thank them too. Matt Krauts will be upset with me.
And you
Thanks,
said all the
Amy.
work, and all the work that's put into it. It's a lot, and unless you do it, you don't understand it. But then there's a huge sigh of relief, because then you can monitor it, maintain it, and adjust it accordingly once it's all put together. But building it is the extremely difficult part. And so that was a huge undertaking in a short period of time. Yeah, kudos. I don't think kudos is the right word.
Yeah.
There's plenty more, but yeah, thank you.
I had a conversation with one of our building supervisors today outside. He's wrapping up getting some of the materials collected, right, that we're no longer using. And he happened to see some of the new materials in action at J.M. Hill in the kindergarten. And he was bragging about how we're so lucky to have these wonderful resources and how the kids were singing along with their super kids. And he happened to witness that and really felt like a part of that, right? Because of the work that his crew did behind the scenes to help us get to that point. So I really enjoyed hearing that from him today.
Thank you.
So another thing that I'm working on with schools and principals and teachers is SPM training. So SPM is the student performance measure. And it's all teachers have to complete one every year, no matter their status or their tenure. And SPM came out from PDE in about 2021, and I was actually on the group that helped write it. So I was on the work group with PDE. There were about 10 of us. And so I helped create the SPM. So I'm able to really talk to teachers about our true intentions behind it, because what I found in the rollout of it across the state was those intentions were not really being followed or recognized. And granted, we were just coming out of COVID. So here at East Stroudsburg, I'm trying to also just communicate that. And the true intention is that teachers should find a really meaningful way for their students to grow. And that's what should be measured. It's not just another thing to sort of check the box and move on. It should be something meaningful for the students and meaningful to the teacher as well. And our goal was to give more agency back to the teachers in this process so that they can really use their own expertise and knowledge and things and knowledge of their students to do something meaningful to help the students. So I've been visiting schools in their opening faculty meetings and really just trying to talk to teachers about that, give them examples, and really just offer my services if any individual teachers want to reach out and have help crafting their SPM. It's a year-long process.
I'm excited to see the mind shift for the
Yeah.
teachers.
Yes,
Instead of being something that they're told to do,
correct.
to have something that's going to actually benefit themselves and their students. And I think in the past, it was just, you have to do this, just do it. This is
Right.
what PDE is telling us to do.
Yes.
But it sounds like you're having them actually understand the why behind it. And I know when I coach the people I work with,
Mhm.
I always want them to understand the why first. So that
Yeah.
then when their outcome means more to them, if they understand why. So I
Right.
love that you were able to give them the why.
This is it. This is exactly it. And even on this work group with PDE, I was one of 2 teachers. And so the 2 of us really pushed for the things that we knew would be important to teachers. So, I want to just make sure that gets out there. Yeah.
Our elementary staff, grades 3 to 5, were reintroduced for those of our staff who had already used the multi-syllable routine and or introduced to that routine as part of our core instruction. It's a 10-minute routine that helps students understand how to break apart big words and know so that they can read them fluently and accurately. That we brought those 3 grade levels together at South Library. Special shout out to Marjorie, who helped me set up the day before in a panic. Just had a little bit more people than we anticipated, and she saved the day for me. So everything worked out wonderfully, and the staff enjoyed having the opportunity to be refreshed in that, as the expectation is set for them to continue to use that in core as part of our elementary language arts curriculum.
And that was part of the program that we presented last spring in terms of a purchase of materials from the 95% group. It really is a great program, and Dr. Bradley's being humble because the principals brought up the need to retrain teachers and reinforce those skills with that opening multisyllabic routine. And typically 95% group is something that we would be coming to you all for because it would be a rather expensive undertaking. And Dr. Bradley was able to work a very favorable deal for the district with the 95% group. And that was some really strong work.
Thank you.
The final piece on this is our new walkthrough look for tool, which is something that our principals will be using as they do walkthroughs throughout the year. We've asked all of our building administration to get one walkthrough for every teacher in their building each quarter. And our focus of those walkthroughs is student engagement. So we created at the administrative retreat what we really wanted to look for. And then we were able to take the list of things that we felt was important and related to engagement and pare everything down into a very easy checklist, which our HR department was able to get uploaded into PAETEP as a custom form so that we can go in, quickly scan rooms looking for facilitation of learning, interaction with students, classroom environment from the teacher focus, owning the learning process, participation, and classroom environment from the student focus. And we'll be able to have quantifiable data as our administrators are doing the walkthrough so we can help to shape and guide future professional development and help our teachers with their overall student engagement in their classrooms.
Now, you said this was uploaded to,
PAE tab.
okay, and then so the building principals have a digital copy of this.
Correct.
Which allows them to just,
Go through and they
Yeah.
can check the boxes of when they're doing the walkthrough. They can hit submit on their way out the door. It's instant feedback to the teachers and it's quantifiable data
they can.
for all the administrators.
Fantastic.
And really, we as a district kind of came together and chose engagement. As we move forward, each building will choose their own based on data for next year of what their number is for walkthroughs. But our administrators didn't do as frequent of walkthroughs as they have in the past, as we're requesting. So we wanted to make sure that they had a common experience, and when we came together as a team, we're talking a common language because we're all looking at the same tool. And then also, because these weren't done frequently, our teacher experience is going to be new as well, of just not having the frequency of administrators in the classroom with a formalized walkthrough. So again, we wanted a common experience for our teachers as well, so that when they talk, they all have the same tool that they're looking at, and there's some commonality for it, just to make sure that as we roll this out, because our end goal, and I know we met this week, we believe the evaluation process should be a portfolio of their work.
Yes.
And not a 42-minute observation. So this is all the SPM, the walkthroughs, this is all what we're trying to build, is this culminating portfolio for our teachers. And it might be stressful for them of people in their classroom. So we're just trying to kind of level set of like, let's start with engagement. We all know what it looks like, feels like, sound like. That's what we've identified here. And they are going to have shared experiences with it. So honestly, what the work that curriculum has done has just been so impressive, but this really just helps to grow the professional, and Marilyn kind of spoke about it briefly, but the purpose of the evaluation process for an educator is to grow and to become a better professional. And these are just two different ways that we're really focusing on that to support our professional staff.
The one thing you mentioned about the walkthroughs is you're gonna try to do this, well, you're gonna try to, the administrators are gonna try to do one walkthrough a semester,
A mark.
or marking period.
Yes.
Now the question is, or will there, or is there a plan to rotate different things that you want to identify for each time that you walk through, or
This
you
is the
looking for
focus
engagement?
for the year.
Okay,
That
so
we
just looking for
we as a
engagement for the year.
district are focused
Okay.
on student engagement.
Because I was just thinking about semester-based learning as opposed to, full year learning. And if you were gonna try to rotate through, you're gonna have a different group of kids. And so
Correct.
you're just focusing on the one
Yeah.
first time. Okay. Thank you.
My guess is I would hope that, when they get this semester, we'll see improvement for the following semester. Like if there was issues that, or not issues, but opportunities for growth that were identified on, that next time they observed, there would be improvement or more growth.
And we're going to kind of every faculty meeting, they're gonna go through their walkthrough data
Right.
and share, because it's a checklist. When you don't see a high percentage of things checked, that's what we're not seeing in classrooms. So they're gonna focus on what we're doing well, and then what we're not doing as frequently, and then how can we increase it? So yes, we would like to see over the course of the year some improvement.
Right.
But also, all of this is just another data point that helps to drive our professional learning.
And I always say, it's never you need improvement, you need growth.
Correct, yep, we just continue to grow, that's our
Yeah.
journey.
I just want to say,
This is great.
this is fantastic. We know everything you do, because we're here and we're listening to it, but making this available allows everybody else to see what actually goes into it. And, reiterate what, Rebecca had said earlier about, it's not because you have to do it, it's this is why we're doing it, and this is what you're gonna get out of it. Unfortunately, being in that position for years, sometimes you have to do these, and why? Because I feel like I'm a child again. And now you're being told, these are the reasons why, and this is what you want to do. Oh, you don't want to do that? This is your choice over here as well. And so it grows you as a professional, as opposed to just being told to do something where we're like kids, you
Yeah.
know? We,
That's true everywhere too, because like,
It is.
I feel like, because I coach employees and I always start with the why and what's in it for them, and then what's in it for their clients. And here, it's them, their clients or their students, it's the same process.
Exactly right.
And I think you get more buy-in if they understand that.
Agree.
thank you all. Moving on to B, the high school program of study. Aha.
So I gave everybody a hard copy of the first round of the program of studies. This year, we are looking to have a different approach on the approval process of it. And the intention behind that is there's so much that we offer at our high school and so many different programs and courses and policies and procedures and academics. And we really want to be able to educate our students and their families of that high school experience and walk them through it and give them the resource that they're able to best make informed decisions about their future. So part of the process was this summer, we investigated, we looked up a lot of other programs and studies from other districts, and we started coming up with kind of a 4-stage approval process for the EPR instead of getting it all at once right before scheduling. So the first part today is coming up with what the new format's going to look like. We gave it a facelift. So we started with making it that the parents know what the purpose of the program of studies is. So you'll see that it's right there on the cover. And then the next page, we wanted to highlight what the academic planning and course selection overview was to let parents know what is the course selection process and what should they be gaining from it. The next page is that we have all of the administrators and the counselors available when they have this document. When parents have questions, we want to know who they should contact and who their student's counselor is, if they're currently in the high school, or if they're an 8th grader coming up to 9th, who they could contact if they have questions regarding that transition of their schedule. So we made that very user-friendly, and we're going to have that in the program of studies. And then we wanted to give a more detailed explanation. If you remember the old program of studies, this was on the cover. It was just a lot of details on the timeline. But if you don't know or had a student in the high school, you might not know what those steps are or what, as a parent, you should be doing to help your child. So our goal was, when I met with the principals and the principals this summer, we sat down and we really ironed out what is that process going to be at North and South. So both principals were there and we outlined it all. And then they went back and met with their guidance counselors, and we were able to produce that timeline with a description of what's going to happen at each of those events. If you notice, something I'm excited about on page 7, with the East Stroudsburg Cyber Academy, we really want to incorporate that as part of the process, that those kids get just as much information at real time and that their schedule is equally as important at that moment for students to schedule, which it always was, but it might not have appeared to be through our communication. So because we had a new director come on board for that, we are going to sit down and draft a timeline for the ESASD scheduling process. That way we can make sure that those students are also meeting with their counselors, having conversations about their courses for next school year. So we just had a meeting today and we really started hitting the ground running on looking at what this Cyber Academy has to offer. Just a quick disclaimer, as we work through that process, we want to outline it for ourselves as we go through it. But then as we see what that looks like, we may at a later date decide to incorporate that in the East Stroudsburg South and East Stroudsburg North one, and then just highlight when it becomes the SACA. But we don't know which format's going to look better until we develop what that SACA timeline looks like for scheduling. So we're going to be working in that on October. And then our graduation requirements. So being at the board meetings and really hearing the board's desire to have better communication on the importance of graduation requirements. I know when Dr. Vitale makes her presentations and you guys asked, and it stood out to me, is how are we informing parents and students what these pathways are and how do we achieve that? And the old program of studies outlined everything and it was included, but it was a few page process. There was about 4 or 5. So we looked at what we wanted to communicate and we simplified it and got all of the content included, but we made it a very user-friendly document that uses language that our students and parents know. So it's not the state language, it's just we adopted our own process that includes all the same content, but it's user-friendly for our families by the words and language that we use. So I'm really excited for that. So that is stage 1. So we would like you to review this, give us any feedback that you might have. And then what we're working on now is we are looking at all of our academic policies and we are making sure that the policies are aligned to our program of studies. And we're reviewing it as far as class rank and like honor, any policy that involves academics will be tied in the program of studies. And we're going to look at it through enrollment. What does it mean for homeschool students? And what does it mean for a student coming in from Bucksmont Academy that's getting our diploma? What does that look like on our transcripts? So we're having a lot of conversations with different departments in our buildings. To our next review at an EPR meeting, we'll have what that looks like for your approval. And then we're going through our scheduling guidelines and leveling. We're going to have conversations starting the end of this month with our high school and also our intermediate about how we're leveling students. So we want to become more transparent. There's not a lot in the program of studies now that let kids know what they should achieve for. If you want to be an honor student, what does that mean? How do you get there to be an honor student? So we want to have that outlined for parents and students, that those conversations are becoming more concrete and it's not abstract and, oh, well, this is what you need. Well, where is that? We want to be able to have that outlined and make sure that every building has the same expectation of what does it mean to be honors? Because now we're writing curriculum for an honors biology class. So how do we know that student is being set up for success? And I'm really excited about that because I think being transparent with our students and families when it comes to leveling is extremely important for everyone. And then the last part is one that is going to be an ongoing process, is we are going to update the courses in the program of studies. So our first task is making sure prereqs are right and talking to departments about how are kids getting recommended into that class and knowing that we have something that is offered at North and South and everything is transparent in the program of studies. So parents don't see a course and then go, oh, well, why isn't it on my scheduling sheet? Why can't I get that? So we really want to clean that up and make sure that the experience is the same no matter where you are, at Osaka, North or South. It may be different based on the building or if they're in Osaka versus South, but the experience is the same and they're still getting the same amount of support from our administration and counselors. So like I said, our goal is to have a finished product for you by the December EPR meeting, because I feel like having that done and ready will help let our principals design the scheduling sheets that mirror this. And it's a one-stop shop for parents that everything they need is in this document and it becomes something that we're using and people know it's there and it's kind of our, I'm going to say, North Star scheduling process that this has everything we need. If we want it changed, we'll know that that's something we have to look at and then it becomes that process in the future.
I would love if we could even start talking about this when kids go into middle school, like not as high level as this, but more like if, you know, as your kid is progressing through middle school and you want them to be into college prep or honors, here's what they need to do in middle school to attain
And
that.
I think that's what Amy said.
But like start earlier
Yeah,
rather than,
that's what she said. We wanted to start it at the intermediate level.
right, like,
So
so
then-
that's like 5th grade going into 6th grade. education.
they don't have course selection.
Right,
fifth
but
into
they
sixth,
can
but
kind
in
of give the
sixth.
idea of,
Correct.
like more of a
Yes.
high level idea. You know, your kids now in middle school, they're going to be entering in high school in 3 years. This is what they should work towards in middle school so that when they get to high school, they can do this. So now the middle school kids have something to work towards in middle school. Maybe they come out of elementary school not quite there, but if they know this is, you know, these things are available to me, oh, I'm going to work a little bit harder so I can get here.
And I think that something exciting that happened this past year was at the high school level, 8th grade and 9th grade, the last 2 years, we built a really nice transition program with the freshman experience. You go in, the counselors meet with the students, they're very involved. And then Tabitha invited the intermediate principals to attend one of her elementary school principal meetings. So the principals were all talking, and the intermediates this past year did that for the 5th graders coming into 6th grade. And one of the policies, under the policy, there's actually like an AR for academics at different levels. So we are with the principals in the intermediate and Tabitha with the elementary, we could look at what does that mean for the different areas. So we are looking at it. It's not necessarily like a program of studies document, but they have their own element that we can communicate. But we also have leveling meetings set for them as well, because we want to make that's kind of where the process starts, is in 7th grade with that advanced math class. So they do need to know it early, but as we're having these conversations, in which they are happening, we are becoming aware of all of that information and figuring out what needs to be delivered when, so we don't overwhelm them, but we also help them make informed decisions.
Amy, I would just like to say thank you. Having looked at the course of studies every year for how long and changes we tried to make and never happened, this is, first of all, the amount of work that's going into this is unbelievable. So thank you from that perspective. And also just as a living document for you to break it down into these different stages and have us look at it, you know, from each perspective of the stage is really such a smart way of doing it, not only for us as EPR, so that we really can digest each section of it, especially for those people who, you know, maybe have not seen a program of studies before in terms of really understanding the importance of it, but also for our parents and our students moving up. I mean, it's just a smart way of putting it all together. And I just want to say thank you to you and to all the people, obviously, who are helping you go through each level. My other question is, when do you, since you're on a timeline, and as you're bringing each stage to us, how soon do you want us to get back to you in terms of feedback? And are we sending that feedback to you directly, or is that something we're giving like at the next EPR meeting? I just wanted to know, like, in terms of our feedback, what timeline do you want to have us?
So all feedback can come to me,
Okay.
and I will work with Amy and we will work through the next steps. In terms of a timeline for feedback, I think if you have very large concerns with what you're looking at, we would need time to then go back and readdress what your concern would be. If you have smaller concerns, our goal is to have a completely polished and finished document for you all for the December EPR, so that that could be approved at the December board meeting. And then, so at the end of it all, like, I would say after the November meeting, we will be putting all the finishing touches, as well as getting all the course description parts of the plan to you. The course descriptions, I think, are probably the least concerning part, that we, as long as we have those right and we have our prerequisites right, it's just a list of all the courses that we offer to our students. But anytime that you come up with concerns, don't hesitate. And every step along the way, we want a clean document to you all. So anything that any of you have, please let us know, and we will start editing and taking those suggestions, and then making sure that what you have to approve in December is something that we can all be proud of.
Excellent. Well, the reason why I asked it, because I thought the end date was December, and we have stage one, round one today. So, and then I'm thinking, okay, at the October, we would then have more than one stage, obviously, coming through if we're looking at it in
Well, you'll
sections,
have this
right?
stage with more in it, as well as the next stage, and then stage 3 in November will be the majority of the rest of it, and then that final document in December.
And
Okay,
the
great.
courses, I'm gonna start working with all right now, my plan is to work with anyone that just wrote curriculum, because everything was already approved by EPR. It's well, pretty much just taking what they're gonna write for their course descriptions and putting them into a format that we want to present. So that I feel like I'm gonna be able to clean up really fast and just kind of really spend more time on my formatting of how we want to convey it. I saw different styles. So once we kind of figure out how we want to present the information, I think we could give you guys a copy of this is what everyone is going to look like. So you'll see the courses that you already approved, you approved prereqs. That was all part of the curriculum. So that I think is the easiest part. And then you guys approved math prior. So that went through the process. So that was my next step. And then going into the electives is just kind of where I think there might be a little bit of discrepancy between what's offered when. So I'm going to start having meetings with them as we go through. So I think the stage 4 is, I'm not going to have a final product to you till the end, but it's going to be something that if any point, what does this look like? I'll be able to have a template of the format and how it's going to be visually appealing is part of the whole program.
Excellent. Are you since you mentioned it to us, and obviously everyone listening for the public, the academic policies and ARs, that obviously go along with that, to saying that the program of studies is mirroring those policies. That's just something that I'm assuming you're doing and your staff is doing to make sure it all aligns, but you're not necessarily putting in the program of studies like the policy number or anything like that, correct?
No, that's
Okay.
correct. It's just
Okay.
pretty much, it's a lot of the same concepts that are in there. I'm just making sure that if we are doing something as far as like class rank, and there's a lot of policies that are out there with like graduation requirements, and I just pulled all those for my own knowledge because I don't want policy to state something and then
Right.
the program of studies to state something else. So the alignment is more for us that we know that everything we're presenting to the public is consistent throughout. And that's pretty much all the policies, but it's not going to say policy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
2.5 is-
and I just, again, I want to say that's, such a great thing because we know from the past just what our electives were when we talked about, leveling and where they were and where educators thought they were, and so forth. So this, makes things so much clearer for everyone, from, the staff straight on through parents and students. So thank you. I can't wait to look through the whole thing. And I'm really happy. I mean, I did look through this first section that you have, the 5 ways in terms of, attaining graduation. It's very clear, the language there, at least from what I read. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
And now we just gotta get parents to show up at the meeting when they go into from 8th grade into 9th grade.
They're very well attended now, but I'm hoping they are even better attended because they have the information and why are they coming to that meeting?
Yep.
You need to give something free out.
Give them something, yes.
Give them something free.
Food, something, get out.
Everybody gets a certificate for free appetizers.
So you guys don't take a breath. It's another ambitious project. Obviously, you just got done with one, so move on to the other. I'm going to date myself. So, when some of us went through high school, it was literally, here's your courses. That's all you get. We have nothing else. And, oh, you're on this math track, so you'll end up in calculus. Great for you. And that was it. Those were your choices. Now putting together and making this a lot easier to understand and course, the prerequisites and what is required. You wouldn't believe, I know people don't really believe that eighth graders care about their education, but it's amazing how many eighth graders are like, well, what do I need to do to get into this? Or how am I going to get into that? Like, because we do scheduling in social studies, and in eighth grade, they're saying, well, how do I get into, can I take this AP course? And I go, like, I get real nervous because AP it's not an honors course. Like, you can get elected to honors English, but doesn't mean you're ready to take an AP level course in ninth grade. And so you try to explain to them all the factors and so on. And putting that together in the program of studies and explaining what is needed, how you get to these points, and then these are the tracks that you can take. It seems to make, to me at least, take the overwhelming a lot easier to, well, I think chunk it down,
Mhm.
make it easier for us to understand. So I really appreciate that. That's a heavy load. So thank you. And this is gonna be a lot thicker when it's done. so-
Yeah, it's really nice now.
Extremely thick.
I think the big thing was just finding the form, like what format, how do we want to present it, what would it look like? So
Right.
now that that's there, it's kind of just the hard stuff now is figuring out what needs to go where and making sure it's.
We're not
done.
gonna blanketly do like we did before. If you take CPR, it counts and you're good to go. Cause I know they did that one year, like a few years ago. Everybody takes CPR. That counts as a graduation requirement.
It's one of the measures.
Yeah.
within
It's one
58.
potential.
Yeah.
It's one potential.
Yeah, it's not the only, just because they take CPR does not mean
Right.
they graduate.
Well,
Act 158 is very, very clearly
I know
laid
they
out
had everybody take
and
CPR
very
at one
closely
point.
monitored. And yes, because it guarantees that at least one check is
Gotcha.
done.
Okay.
Yep.
I was wondering, they blanketly had everybody take CPR one year. I'm like, huh, what is that for? There you go.
Moving on, the elementary science growth plans.
Well, I'm incredibly delighted to share. I think this is our last chapter of our science journey for you. I want to point out, though, when you look at the list of names there, they're going to be familiar because when you think about our elementary chairs, their department can run anywhere from 25 to 30 people. And our chairs just rolled out our math resource last year, and then 2 years before that, our ELA resource. So our chairs have, I say curriculum fatigue, have really been working so hard the last several years. And we do try to rotate through the folks who help them because this was the second year math. So we tried to get some different folks to help them. So if people still needed help with math, their team was there to assist with that as we roll out science. So a big thank you to them and their dedication to continuing to do this work without any complaints or concerns, just wanting to get it right. You'll notice that these documents are incredibly thorough for several reasons. One, because as you know, we haven't had new resources in a very long time. And two, we have new steel standards and a different approach somewhat to how we teach science. And so they were very thoughtful in making sure that they tried to address every detail that they could so that it was an incredibly user-friendly document for their team, partially selfishly for them, so they would have less questions that would be emailed to them, hoping that if they were proactive in the beginning and incredibly thorough with that work, that there would be, less confusion and concern. We're certain there are some things that will still need to be, addressed as we work through the curriculum and the new resources, but incredibly proud of the work that they've done. And thanks to everyone for the board for approving the hours for them to work in the summer and the additional, when they needed some extra time, the additional hours to get that work done to the level of satisfaction that they hold themselves to.
Thank you. Anybody?
Thanks, Tabitha, and thanks to all the teachers who have put that together. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. I will be. I'm kind of opening them on my phone, and some of them I don't have access to. So when I get home from vacation over the weekend, I will open them, and if I don't have access, I'll let you know, or I'll
Thank you.
request access if it's through one of the teachers. Okay, I don't know if it's just because I'm on my phone or not.
They transferred ownership to me, so if you don't have access, that's my error in my domain. So I will go through them tonight before I get up from the table and make sure that it looks like correct. But again,
Okay,
we
thanks.
transfer that to have that warehouse, that curriculum warehouse, there might be
Mhm.
a step that I missed or something. So thank you for letting me know.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
I was able to access second grade, but that was it.
Only a second.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rebecca.
I will say, you know, I've said it a dozen times when you guys were going through, I mean, it's the basis for what we do, meaning we, for me personally, as an educator, and all the educators within the district. Without a strong foundation to build off of and understand what they're supposed to be teaching, it makes it difficult. And so creating the strong curriculums in every department, K through 12, it makes creating your lessons and teaching that much easier. And so we really do appreciate it. And they were all in need of an overhaul. And the amount of work that goes into it is tremendous. So
And Tabitha, I want to thank you, and really the elementary teachers and elementary worlds, because when I first came on board EPR and we, you know, obviously we're talking curriculum, one of the things that we talked about were the course plans. And elementary really were, our elementary teachers were really at the forefront of the course plans, you know, and the plans that they had created, you know, were so detailed and so well done. And it really was a nice framework then for our middle school and our high school teachers to at least even have something to look at, you know what I mean, in moving forward. And as we saw, you know, and Jason, you know, so correct in all that we've been talking about, how much work is involved in all of this. The fact that we had 71, you know, that we looked at, you know, from the secondary level last time, you know, is incredible. But really, I wanted to say thank you to the elementary teachers, because they really, you know, kind of, in my mind at least, had the framework and really had these plans done, before, you know, the secondary world kind of moved into it this year finally. So, so I did want to just say thank you to you and to all the teachers in the elementary. And as Jason said, you know, all of this is the stepping stones for our students as well. So thank you so much.
thank you.
You bet. Thanks.
All right. Moving on to curriculum work for this school year.
Thank you. So at the secondary level, we're really not taking a breath when it comes to writing curriculum. But the difference between elementary and secondary curriculum is that at the secondary level, we're working within the departments and we're not asking the same teachers and the same chairs to step up year after year after year to rewrite the curriculum. And because this is an English year in our published cycle, and because the elementary English teachers 2 years ago rewrote with the new program that was purchased through the ESSER money, we are continuing on with the current program that we're using at the elementary level, with the exception of rolling in the new version from kindergarten through second grade, 1 grade per year. So that is why you don't see a large write at the elementary level. What you will see is that we are going to do a complete curriculum rework for high school English. Middle school ELA, we will be tweaking and revising their written curriculum, as well as really focusing in on their course plans. We will be writing a curriculum plan and looking to purchase resources for high school general science so that we can ensure that we are hitting each area of the Steele standards in all of our high school courses. So all of our students who go through our high school science courses will have access to all of the Steele standards, and this general science course will close us out for those. We're going to be writing Personal Finance 2, which some of you may remember is going to be the follow-up that will allow us to meet the state graduation requirement and the standards of personal finance. And this is going to build off of the course that you all approved last year in Personal Finance 1. We are going to be focusing on Multimedia 2, which is the course that we identified to have students working on our video scoreboards. And this course is really a backward designed course So we have the end goal of having students be able to not only create content, but also operate our new video scoreboards on our fields. And that is our endpoint. And so we are building that course from that endpoint backward. And we've identified multimedia too, because we're getting students with a prerequisite knowledge. So as we're building that course backward, we're not taking it all the way back to step one from scratch. We're actually building it back because we have a group of students with the skills to be able to jump into that. And finally, our Education for All course, which is our NCC course for future educators.
You're right, you're not taking a breath. You guys are- Yeah,
It's
But wait-
amazing all that's getting done, and it's just from my perspective, it's just so exciting. What we're putting together. Will we get some feedback from the personal finance one course? I'm just curious. Maybe after the first semester, just to kind of get some feedback from what students think, what teachers think, those kinds of things, and where you really felt in terms of the standards and so forth that were being met, both the career standards, and then obviously personal finance too. We know freshman year to junior year, was the distribution of the curriculum of what you thought you were going to put in personal finance one and the areas we were putting in personal finance two. Just be curious to get a little, feedback at the end of the semester. Nothing grand, just
It's
for
funny that
curiosity.
you mentioned that, Ms.
Yeah.
Control, because we were actually talking about this in a meeting today. And we are going to take feedback, and as we're looking to align the standards will be covered, but we said we may be re-presenting the course plan for Personal Finance 1 based on, number one, the teacher's experience with delivering the curriculum. But in Personal Finance 2, we want to include counselors and talking about college planning and paying for that and tying that into our dual enrollment processes that we have in place and all the opportunities that we have for our students. So something that going into this situation blindly last year, having never taught
Right.
all of these standards before, we think we want one thing. And then when we're out there and it's live and we're teaching it, we're like, oh, this isn't flowing or this isn't working the way we thought. So while we will be keeping with the standards and the resources for Personal Finance 1 and wouldn't be altering the board approved curriculum, that course guide may look very different. And we may even be bringing Personal Finance 1 with Personal Finance 2's course plan. Or we will make the determination that it is good as written and we will continue with that, but that will be determined.
Perfect. I mean, that's exactly where I was coming from, because I knew it was just, as you said, this is the way we think we want it to be. And then, sometimes it works brilliantly and sometimes we need change. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, moving on. Do
So we have this on here because we wanted to make sure that the committee was aware that we would be purchasing some training for intermediate school special education ELA teachers for our HMH ELA program, which the special education teachers will be implementing the aspects of this program into the supplemental ELA programs. And in order for them to do that with all fidelity, we wanted to make sure that they had the proper training to do this. And we just wanted to inform so that it doesn't require finance for us to pay for this. And I'm not asking for any line item adjustments, as we did budget for training and this would be covered under that. But just that this will be taking place, and this is something that will be coming through so that we're giving all of our students access to all of our curriculum.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Additional elementary sections needed.
Yes, so we added some additional sections in kindergarten and fourth grade due to reaching and surpassing the threshold for elementary class sizes, and the board approved the hiring of the teachers. This is just to clear to the committee that we do need to purchase additional resources for those classes. For the Super Kids kindergarten, as well as for first and second grade for special education, and HMH for third through fifth grade ELA, and one HMH for fourth grade science.
Now, will those totals be?
They will be under the finance threshold.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. G. Moving on.
All right, G. So Acadience is our ELA screener. It is included in the 25-26 budget. However, that is a higher cost program that we use for in all of our elementary schools. It is our overall screener for services as well as our benchmark, and it is a strong program that will be rolled out. However, it is rather expensive and does need approval both through EPR and finance.
Is that like Dibbles? The
Yes.
replacement Dibbles?
It actually is the new Dibble.
It's the new Dibbles.
Okay,
If you want to, I love this story. So University of Oregon owned Dibbles.
okay.
Do you guys know this story?
No,
So University of Oregon owned Dibbles. Dibbles sued each other. So Dibbles, the researcher, sued the University of Oregon and they divorced.
oh,
One company got the data set.
okay,
One company got the measure, the actual screener.
oh,
Acadience is the actual screener. University of Oregon got the data set. It's fascinating. It's so, 2017, 18?
Ish.
Ish, yeah, it was very interesting
I
to
never
watch.
knew why we got rid of Dibbles.
Dibbles ate itself.
Gotcha, okay,
Nice.
good to know.
Okay. All right. H. 3P learning.
3P learning. So this is our programs for kindergarten. In Math Seeds, it is our kindergarten screener, as well as being used in kindergarten and first grade special education, supplemental and specialized classes, as well as Reading Eggs, our kindergarten through second grade supplemental tool. And these are subscriptions, again, budgeted for, but do
Okay.
go over the threshold, and we would need finance approval.
Okay.
Is the finance approval, is that coming through the CNI budgets, or is this like in addition to?
No, it was budgeted for in the CNI budget. However, we hadn't gone through finance for the overall threshold, and we just want to make sure we're doing everything by the book.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Excellent. All right. Any other questions, anybody? All right. Public participation limited to the comments on the agenda only. I don't see anybody here. Nope. No one online? Okay. All right. Moving on, advisory recommendations for consideration by the Finance Committee and or by the Board of Education for items A and B. Okay, so moved
Second,
by Billick and second by Ms. Catrillo. Any discussion? No? Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Anyone opposed? Nope. Okay, motion carries. Our next meeting will be October 2nd, 2025. All right, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
So moved. Second,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Okay,
Jason, thank you so much for
Oh.
doing this, and hey,
You're
you're
right.
better than I am. You got it an hour. Woo!
Debbie's proud.
On
Done.
on dot.
Tonight PNF was
And I
like
was slightly
35
tardy.
minutes.
I apologize
Oh,
for being tardy. I forget. we
This
get
just
traffic.
goes to prove how much better
Correct, right, there you go.
EPR is.
Correct.
K-12 American Heart.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ann.
Yeah.